Backyard Bee Builder here, and I just wanted to do a video on sprouting your own seeds. I love working in the yard, I love gardening, but the weather's getting cold and there's not a lot of things I can do outside. But sprouting is something you can do. It always gives you a good fresh source of greens. So come with me and we'll sprout some seeds. Okay, to get started, what you're going to want is a big jar. I use a great big giant pickle jar. This works for my family because there's 7 of us, and so usually we'll go through sprouts really quickly. I've got a little helper here today. This is my son AJ, and he's going to help me do sprouts today. So with the big jars, if you would like to though, if you don't have a big family, you just want to use a regular quart jar, that works great too. To start out, for a big jar, a big pickle jar, I'll use about 1/4 cup of sprouts. Now there's a few different kinds of sprouts. Today we're going to be using alfalfa sprouts, and this is the typical sprout that you'll get in the grocery store or on your sandwich, at a health food place. But there's all kinds of different sprouts that you can use this way, and it works for any of them. So today use about 1/4 cup in a large jar. Now for a small jar, if you're doing a small jar, you'll use 2 to 3 tablespoons is all it will take. And you can adjust that according to how many sprouts you want. So as you can see here, it's just kind of barely covering the bottom. And once we get those in there, what you're going to need also are some knee-high nylons. And this just makes it easy to rinse. You'll need to rinse them every day. So you're going to need some nylons. Let's go over to the sink for the next step. Okay, once you have your seeds in your jar, it's pretty simple. You'll just get your nylon and you'll stretch over the top of your lid. And this just gives you a screen to screen it out with when you're draining it each day. And with that, you get some cold water and you can just fill it up. As you can see, the seeds are just kind of covering the bottom of the jar, and as you swish them around, it'll rinse them off. So here I've got my jars with my seeds in it. I'm just going to fill it up with some water to rinse them out. Put some water in there and you just kind of swish it around. Make sure that they all get rinsed off. The problem is that it's difficult to strain them out once they've got water in it, and that's where the nylon comes into play. You can use a knee-high nylon or just whatever you have on hand, and you stretch it over the top of the bottle. If it doesn't stay, then you can use an elastic band to keep it on. But as you can see, it very easily strains out. Once it's strained out, you kind of just shake it down. Use some water again to rinse it down to the bottom of the jar. So you fill it up to where it has plenty of water in it, and the seeds are just going to float around on the bottom. Now once it's like this, I'll keep it in the jar for a couple hours just to kind of help open up the seeds. So we'll let those soak and come back in a bit. If you have issues with it straining out of the top, just try to pull your nylon a little bit tighter and it'll open up the holes in the nylon so the water can get out a little bit easier. Just try to keep that as tight as you can, and then the seeds won't fall out. Okay, so it's been a couple hours and I'm just going to come back and strain out the excess water. After it's strained out, you're going to want to shake the jar. I don't know if you can see this, but make all the seeds come down into the bottom and kind of make sure that they come out of the top. Now there's going to be a little bit of water in there, but that's just fine. That's how it's meant to be. And now I'm just going to leave this on my table. I've got a big window in my kitchen, and so it lets plenty of sunlight in. It doesn't take a whole lot, but what I'll do is just periodically throughout the day as I'm walking through the house, I'll rinse it out. You want to rinse it out about twice a day. You can do it in the morning and at night. And to do a rinse, you just fill it full of water, shake it out, drain it out, and put it back like this on its side. Put Putting it on the side allows it to have a little bit more room to grow. And as the days progress, you'll see how that's necessary. So we'll let this go and let's see how Mother Nature does its tricks. When you set it on your cabinet, set it on its side like this so that it has more room to grow.
It's been about 3 days, and it's just about ready to eat. We'll give it another rinse. Okay, they're all rinsed, and now on the last day I will typically put them right underneath a window so they can get a little bit of sun and they'll start to green up a little bit more. As you can see, even in the big jar, it kind of gives it a greenhouse effect where the humidity stays in there and they all just grow, but we'll give this one a rinse too. Here they all are set up under the window to give them some green, and we'll see what they look like tomorrow. See here, it's a lot greener. It's amazing what a day will do. Now this one is probably too full. I ended up putting 3 tablespoons in this one. I probably should have opted for 2. But they're nice and green and ready to eat. Okay, so when we're opening it up, we can just pull them right out of the jar. And they can be kind of packed in there. But you can see they're really, really nice and ready to eat. Now you're going to see a lot of these little brown pieces, and at first you're going to think, man, half my seeds didn't even sprout, but really those are just the shells of the seeds. So don't be worried about those, and if you don't like those, you can just rinse them off in the sink. But as you can see, there's just tons and tons of sprouts, and these go really good on salads or on tomato sandwiches or just eating plain. So they're very nutritious, and it does give you that fresh greens during the winter months when it's hard to get them out of the garden. So typically I'll actually store them in the jars. And the reason why is because they are plants and you can continue to keep them growing for probably 2 or 3 days after you sprout them. And so I'll just continue to rinse them once a day just so they don't shrivel up. You know, they'll have enough water to live, and then I'll be able to keep them for nice and fresh for a couple days. You can also store them in the fridge. That'll kind of slow down the process so they don't grow so quickly now, but they are a nice treat. So this is the Backyard Bee Builder signing out, and I hope you enjoyed the video.